to the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast with your hosts Griffin Palmer, CJ Hickman, Jason Cabrera, and Ryan Mitchell.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is a rare Saturday show, April 7th. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. I am your host, Griffin Palmer, joined by both CJ the Hitman Hickman and Jason Cabrera. What's up, guys?
We're working on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Celebration.
We pulled a fast one here.
Run it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, technical difficulties. This is, as CJ is chanting, show 200. It's kind of a big deal. We wanted everyone to be here. It's a ranking show, so we definitely wanted everyone to be here, as you may recall from Tuesday's show. And, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things where why not have the whole gang together if we can? And another good reason to probably be following us on Twitter, at the FF Fanatics, where you would have known this was happening because we tweeted out an update. So, again, if you're not following us, head over to Twitter right now, provided you're not driving your car. If you're driving, wait. If you're driving, wait. Do it later. But go to at the FF Fanatics. Give us a follow. It's good stuff. A lot of important information, especially during the season. So I guess you guys feeling good? You hyped up? You ready for rankings? Episode 200. Going to be a good one, right?
200.
Let's get started, please.
200. All right. Well, I guess let's just jump into it. As always, make sure you guys subscribe wherever you're listening. Submit your questions through various sources. The easiest way, again, is on Twitter, at the FF Fanatics. If you're on YouTube, you can comment down below. If you're on Facebook or email, you can reach us, again, at the Fantasy Football Fanatics. Just send us stuff. We're happy to answer it. We respond to pretty much everything. And if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Get yourselves a bunch of bonus perks over there as well. And with that, let's move into some of the top headlines from around the league. We got some bookkeeping to do before we actually get to the rankings. A big bit of news did happen during the week, and that was that the New England Patriots have traded wide receiver Brandon Cooks and a 6th-round pick to the Los Angeles Rams for their 23rd overall first-round pick. Guys, why did they trade away Brandon Cooks here? A guy they just traded for a year ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it just didn't work out. And to be honest, for me, on both sides of the ball, I see this working out. I mean, it's a little more risky on the Rams side of the ball, but for the Patriots, it's definitely a win because they definitely needed to get younger. And they got to get some younger talent in there. They need to get some young elite talent in there. So to have 2 first-round picks, you can be able to do that. You've seen this defense. I mean, they've been playing good, but it's still that youth is not there. That elite talent is not there. They've been playing good within the scheme, but it's time to spruce some things up a bit. It's time to get some fresh blood in there. And then for the Rams, for me, I mean, just quickly looking at it, they're basically going. It's all or nothing this year to me. I mean, because after this season, you got to pay Marcus Peters, you got to pay Aaron Donald, you got to pay that Stacy that you just franchise tagged. You got to pay. There's like 3-4 other guys they got to pay, and I mean, and they're not going to be cheap. So if they don't get it this year, it's going to be all for naught for me. So I really think it's more risky on the Rams side of this trade than the Patriots.
Yeah, mortgaging the future a little bit just for this year.
Yeah.
I have a much more sinister thought in mind for this trade for the Patriots. This smacks of I want Odell Beckham Jr. to be for the Patriots.
If you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out that exact thing as soon as this trade happened. Like, Patriots are going for Odell.
Exactly.
Calling it now.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, because they've got 2. They now have 2 first-round picks, right? In this draft, they could easily put together a package to bring in Odell Beckham Jr. And my God, I can't even imagine. I mean, he would be by far not by far, but he would probably be the best receiver that Brady has ever worked with, other than Moss.
Randy Moss, yeah.
You can't say that yet. You can't say that yet about Odell Beckham Jr. You just can't make that comparison.
You could make the argument. Moss, some would.
Not yet, in my opinion. But since Moss, this would be the best receiver that he has ever played with. That would be absolutely dangerous, and we all know what happened with Randy Moss and Tom Brady in that season. It was ridiculous. So I could see them making a play for this.
Yeah, I could, and There have been reports that have come out that have contradicted that and said that's not the plan. I don't believe it at all.
It's the Patriots. Don't believe anything.
Yeah, I mean, if the Patriots have a chance to get their best wide receiver this decade, why would they not? I mean, a team that was, basically, if they just played probably their starting cornerback, might have won a Super Bowl, yet again, continuing a dynasty, and they go and they massively upgrade on their offense, which is obviously the strength of the team. Why wouldn't they do that? The asking price has been set by the Giants, and now they have the pieces to go and pay that asking price. And, I mean, what first-round pick are they going to get at the back of the first round that has, obviously there's a lot of upside there, but no matter what, a rookie's got question marks. You know what Odell Beckham Jr. is. I mean, arguably the top wide receiver in the entire league right now. So, of course, then there's the argument that you have to pay him crazy money. It's probably going to take $20 million a year to pay Odell Beckham Jr., based on like Antonio Brown's contract where he's making $18 million a year. But you're getting this super talent. So, I mean, I could see the Patriots doing it. Obviously, you do, Jason. I know a lot of people are speculating it. Whether it actually happens or not, time will tell, but it's definitely interesting. The Rams also came out and said that they plan to extend Cooks and make it a long-term deal. So that's good news for Cooks as well, who's bounced around the last couple of years. So it's his third team in 3 years. Well, that's good. Also, in a bit of league headline news, the Washington Redskins traded a 6th-round pick to the Cleveland Browns for backup quarterback Kevin Hogan. So that's interesting. That happened. Obviously, a depth move there. Let's see. Let's go to some quarterback news. Speaking of, the Baltimore Ravens signed unrestricted free agent quarterback RG3, that's Robert Griffin III, to a 1-year deal. Clearly a backup role, gives them some nice contradict. I think this is kind of like what Tyrod Taylor was doing when he was in Baltimore. He plays very different from Joe Flacco, which I hate as a backup, but it's really good for the scout team and practicing against different kinds of quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks around the league are mobile. This gives them a mobile quarterback to practice against, so I think I understand the move there. Moving to the wide receiver position, unrestricted free agent wide receiver Jordan Matthews has signed with the Patriots, speaking of, to a 1-year deal. So, guys, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay.
Like it. Like it.
I mean,
What's that like? Not bad. I mean, it's good. I mean, look at that receiver core. You got a good guy, tall guy. You can do it, put in the middle. It works for him, man. It's not like they have. Outside of Edelman and Gronk, they can use some more weapons. Okay, you got Hogan. You got not Kevin Hogan. I'm sorry, Chris Hogan. You got Chris Hogan there. I think he's a good young receiver. You can get the add in there. I like the pick. Hopefully being in that system, they can be able to broaden out his repertoire as far as, not just being a strictly spot guy, and maybe he can be able to be on the outside and, maybe do some drag routes and some big routes, and he'll be able to be effective there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I like the pick. I mean, I know there was a lot of other teams that he was talking about going to, so to see him going to the Patriots and being in their system and, hopefully, being there with, your boy Tommy B, another year. Hopefully it's good for him. He can be a good, I don't know if he's draftable, but he's probably a waiver guy to probably pick up and get some money for you.
Fills the Danny Amendola role pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll work out.
Yep. Sorry, Jason, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say it's a definite Patriots move. They go out, they get it. The guy's got some talent and kind of a proven guy, good role player, bring him in. So, yeah, I like it.
Yep. All right. And last bit of wide receiver news. The New Orleans Saints have signed former Chicago Bears wide receiver Cameron Meredith. Guys, thoughts on this?
I like this, too. Like this. I like this. The wide receiver trio you got there. You got Michael Thomas, Willie Snead, and then Meredith in there. I really like it. I like it a lot.
There you go. Gives them yet another weapon to help with that offense. And maybe the Saints will have a bit more of a passing game this year. Maybe a little bit less run heavy. We'll see.
About all that. I mean, don't break what's don't fix what's not broke. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, did they win the Super Bowl?
They did not, but that scheme what they were doing did get them. I mean, well, first of all, they could have been in the NFC Championship game if it wasn't for a certain play. I mean, that's the only thing about that. But outside of that, I mean, they were to what, top 10 in offense, and they were just making. They were already in top 10 as far as like scoring and all this stuff like that. They were doing a lot of good things right there. So I don't know if you should overhaul everything and go back to being the pass game. It was that was their secret weapon. I mean, that they were dazzling you with the running game,
but
that you forget all about that Drew Brees is back there, and he got that arm, and he can sling it on you anytime he wants to. So that to me, I think that worked in their favor and their advantage. So I don't know if you go deep all back in there. And Drew Brees is another year older, and so you're not going to get the same arm talent that you did 4 or 5 years ago. So.
No, I agree, and I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here, but at the same time, I mean, this is the NFL. Every single team around the league is going to have seen this rushing attack, and they're going to have a scheme to try and stop it. So they need to catch them off guard. They need to plan for other things. They need to be more balanced. So I think this is them being proactive in that endeavor, because I don't think they're going to be able to be quite as run-heavy this year, because teams will have had an offseason to prep for it. But I agree. Obviously, the running game was amazing last year, and I think they'll still lean on it pretty heavily, with Drew Brees being another year older, as you said, though one of the best passing quarterbacks of this generation. So we'll see. Let's wrap up the news with the tight end position, where unrestricted free agent tight end Richard Rodgers, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, has signed a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. So depth move for sure. CJ, you excited about this move?
I wasn't at first. I saw his numbers. He did pretty good with the Packers. So hopefully. We just need a blocking tight end at most, and then we need a playmaker, to replace what we got in Burton. So if he can be a little mixture of both, he should work out well, and it should be good for us.
He's a good player. Obviously, he has a pass-catching background, but he can also block. I think he checks most of those boxes, so why not? All right, I guess with that, let's move on to why everyone's here. The reason we pushed the show, the reason we did so many things, and we're getting into our early consensus rankings. Today, we are starting with our consensus quarterback rankings. So today we'll be talking quarterbacks numbers 1 through 12. We'll be going beyond that on the Patreon show. And I guess we will start where else but at the top of the list with a guy who we all have unanimously as our number 1 quarterback despite injuries last season. No surprise here. We all have Aaron Rodgers, number 1. Guys, tell me why it's Aaron Rodgers and not anyone else. Who wants to go first?
Quarterback in the league.
Yep. Best fantasy quarterback for sure.
That was basically
that's pretty much all I got to say on it. There you go.
Best quarterback in the league. The offense is basically in his hands. He is the offense. You've seen it numerous of times. When he is hurt, the offense drops. Everybody that's connected to the offense are not produced. They do not produce like they would if he was there. So I mean, he's unanimous. I mean, when he's there, a man is absolute money. He's absolutely worth. Wherever you draft him, if not earlier than where people projected to go, and whatever but any auction money you spend on him, he's well worth it. He's instant money.
Yep. I mean, we see this guy going as early as the second round, and at quarterback, that's insane. Highest red zone throwing quarterback in the league. Red zone throws, as long as they don't become interceptions, generally translate to passing touchdowns, which is obviously great for fantasy. And he's playing for his record-breaking contract that he's sure to get soon, because he's going to the second to last year of his deal. He has no guaranteed money. Technically, the team has an out on him after last season, but come on, it's Aaron Rodgers. They're not going anywhere. He's going to be the highest-paid player in the league as soon as he inks this new contract. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. He's earned it. We all know this for fantasy. He's a gold mine. And depending on how early you're comfortable taking a quarterback, odds are Aaron Rodgers will be, and we all argue clearly should be, your first look. So Aaron Rodgers continuing to be our number 1. Is the fact that Jordy Nelson's gone at all concerning to you guys? His favorite target?
No.
I mean, a little bit, but it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the guy, what he does is spread the ball around. I mean, and he's done it without Jordy before. Jordy's been hurt a lot.
That is very
valid. You got the Adams there. You got Randall Cobb is another guy he likes, and then whoever else steps up, that's the guy that'll fill that role. So I'm not that too concerned. He's the type of guy where he'll make stars at what he has, basically.
How dare you forget about Geronimo Allison? And let's not also forget Ty McGovern.
That name, no good.
That name's pretty intense.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Not forget, they could always bounce T.Y. Hilton out to the slot as well. Jimmy Graham there in the red zone. As we just said, Aaron Rodgers throws a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. He's a great red zone weapon. It could be a perfect combination of things. We'll see. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's I feel pretty obvious. This next guy, we're also unanimous on, but maybe there's some question marks now with the departure of a certain number 1 target in that offense. Tom Brady, we all have as our number 2 quarterback. Does anyone want to go first on Tom Brady here?
Consistency. I mean, the guy is a robot. We've said it over and over and over again. He again. This is another guy that spreads the ball around, and Cook's got the most number of targets, but he's definitely not the number 1 target in that offense. Obviously, Gronkowski is your number 1 target there. So, and Gronk is probably going to come back. So overall, you got to go with the guy that has done it year after year after year after year, and he's still got a great offensive line blocking for him. So overall, yeah, you got to go with Tom Brady here.
Yeah, I'm definitely prepared to drop him in my rankings because I agree Gronk is the number 1 target, but Cooks was kind of the number 1 receiver. He's getting Edelman back, which is great. They brought in Matthews, which is great, but if he loses Brandon Cooks and Rob Gronkowski to retirement this year or trade, they might trade him, I have to think that that's going to affect him because that's losing some serious weapons. Now, then again, he could also get a serious bump if they go and they get an Odell Beckham Jr. So I think the pros and the cons of what could play out with Tom Brady, plus it being Tom Brady, have him as my number 2. I am concerned about it a little bit as well because he's getting a year older yet again, but I mean he's shown no signs of slowing down, so I'm not really taking that into too much account at the moment. So CJ, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's Tom Brady, man. He's the GOAT. And in this offense with Josh McDaniels, man, whatever they don't have as far as, wide receiver or, what they did have and they traded away, I feel like that production is going to be picking up the slack by the running backs, man. I mean, their running backs have been getting involved year after year more and more, and the numbers increase. So as long as they got those running backs there, they can be able to pass catch and be effective. I'm not too concerned about this. I mean, he's a dink and dunk guy, and he shoots the ball down the field when the opportunity and time permits it. I mean, that's what they're going to do. That's what their offense is built on. So, I mean, while all that is going on, and that continues to be effective, he should still be a number 2 quarterback, even with the age and even with the talent departure.
Fair enough. All right, so Tom Brady, the number 2 quarterback in our consensus early rankings. Number 3, we have Drew Brees. Drew Brees unanimously. Again, we are in sync through our top 3 so far.
Well, all right. Easy there.
It's rare that we're this in sync as a show.
He's getting fired up. He's fired up about it.
It's about to turn. It's getting ready to turn.
You know what? Let me enjoy the unity because we rarely are in sync, all right? Drew Brees, number 3, consensus across the board. We all have him ranked there appropriately. I think we're all expecting, as we just kind of talked about in the news, I know I am expecting there to be a little bit of a bounce back for the passing game there. They brought another weapon. They're going to have to be more balanced. And they have Drew freaking Brees, who is the only quarterback to throw for 5,000 yards multiple times, and which he's done it 5 times out of 9 quarterbacks to ever do it in NFL history. Yes, he's a year older. That is concerning, but I still believe he has plenty left to prove, and I think he's got the ability to get it done. Teams are going to be respecting the run. That will help the pass. So, yeah, Drew Brees, I'm comfortable taking him as my number 3 quarterback as of now. Let me throw it to Jason. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Drew Brees is the best pure passer in the league, most accurate passer in the league. And he's got himself a nice running tandem now that he doesn't have to do it all, which is going to open up that throwing game a bit more. So yeah, I think that even in his at his age, he's still going to be definitely an elite guy in this league and for another year.
CJ?
Yeah, man, great quarterback. Familiar with the scheme, been in the system for years, and he's got the talent there to be able to help him out. So, just like Jason said, he doesn't have to shoulder the load on himself like he used to do in years prior. So, I mean, with all that being said, and whatever they bring out, I mean, the only way that he's going to get better is if they continue to improve the offensive line, which they might. I mean, there's probably a guard in this draft that they can be able to plug in, and, they can still keep on running, get a little younger there. But outside of that, we talked about the weapons he brought in. I mean, it's just this guy's money, and once again, that's the thing I like about this offense is, they do the run where they don't have to depend so much on him, but when they need him, bam, he's right there, and he's making these plays, and then he gets 3, 4, 5 touchdowns because you got a beast back there in Alvin Kamara that are screens that he's throwing. And ladies and gentlemen, those are passes to the running back. So guess what? When Alvin Kamara scores, Drew Brees scores, that means you score. Hey, Drew Brees, man, money.
I like how we're all talking about how Drew Brees had this really down year where he still had over 4,300 yards and a quarterback ranking of 103.9, which I think was his fourth or fifth best season of his career. The only reason is because it all boils down to fantasy production. I mean, he had in his average less than 100 attempts than what he's had since 2010. He also had his first season since 2007 where he didn't break 30 passing touchdowns. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 2003 to get to the next year where he threw for less touchdowns than he did last year, which is what hurts him in fantasy. But again, I think this will return to the norm, and I don't expect an overcorrection. I don't think we're going to see like 2011 Drew Brees, 5,400 yards and 46 touchdowns with 110 quarterback ranking. I don't think we're going to see that again. But, just split the difference somewhere in the middle. I still really like Drew Brees, so we'll see. And yeah, again, bring in new weapons and trying to buff up the line and do a lot of other things with the run game. I mean, he's only 39. Tom Brady's going to be doing it at 41, so theoretically Drew Brees can still keep it up, right?
Not everybody's Tom Brady.
Sure.
There you go. All right, let's move on to our number 5 quarterback. Number 4 quarterback, rather. Drew Brees was number 3. I'm tired. Don't come at me like this. Number 4 is Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson, I have him at 4. Both of you guys have him at 5, so I guess I'll go first. And it simply boils down to this team knows that they have a glaring problem, and it's overhauling. So I think that Russell Wilson, this team's going to be down a lot more than they've ever been, so I think they're going to have to be being aggressive. I think they're going to try and score. He gets a lot done with his legs, and they're going to bring in more weapons for him. I don't think they're going to leave him as completely untooled as he is right now. I mean, obviously they lost Jimmy Graham, so their top tight end is Nick Vannett, I believe. Their wide receivers are currently still Doug Baldwin and Marcus Johnson and Tyler Lockett. So, I mean, nothing too overly exciting there. Doug Baldwin has been super flashy at times. He's been a very good fantasy asset. A consistently good wide receiver, too, which has done wide receiver 1, obviously, upside over stretches, but not consistently over year after year. And then at the running game, at running back, they've got really nothing. So this team needs a lot, and a lot of it's going to be on Russell Wilson's shoulders. So I like the upside. Could this easily go the other way? Sure. Is he a mobile quarterback and give him a chance to get hurt? Sure. And for these reasons, I might move him down my list. But based on how I have him statted out right now, plus the players that I have around him, that's just kind of where he lies. I feel like I might be a little high on him based on the circumstances, but I'm still okay with taking him as a top 5 quarterback. And clearly you guys agree with that, at least, because you both have him at 5. So who wants to weigh in here?
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of Russell Wilson, man, but there's too many things that you pointed out on that really concerns me. This offense, they have drafted terribly for this team for the last couple of years, and it is showing because this he doesn't have the talent, just to be able to go back there and make plays. And the great thing about him is that he's an instant playmaker. He does these crazy trick plays and ballerina type moves in the pocket, and he can make those moves for you, man. But I don't want my quarterback being relied on to be able to make so many decisions like that, because it's leaving so much room for injury, and that's what happened to him a couple of years ago. So, I mean, unless they improve this offensive line, which they need to, but I don't know if, they're going to draft good enough to be able to do it, that concerns me. But the overall talent alone, Russell Wilson is a beast. The man is ridiculous, and I respect the crap out of that dude. But it's just the things that concern me with this offense that makes me a little hesitant on moving him up. The talent alone, he should go up there. But it's overall play that's around him that makes you want to, pull the reins back a little bit.
Jason?
We've said this before about Russell Wilson. He's got to be Superman on every single play. Every single play, he's got to save them. And the problem is they don't have a lot, like we said, they don't have a lot of talent on the offensive side. That poor offensive line, I mean, they have to be Supermen too, because you never know where Russell's going to go. He'll disappear. You're like, crap, where is he? So I will be dropping him down my rankings a bit, because I do believe that this defense is going to take a step back. The offense is not inspiring right now. Overall, it doesn't look great right now for the Seahawks. I feel like they're going to regress this year. So I'll probably be dropping him down. As CJ said, my team faces these guys twice a year. I hate facing them because Russell Wilson is one of those guys that you think you got him, you think you got him bottled up, and he pops out and throws the ball down the field, and you're like, crap, you know. So as much as I respect him, I can't see him carrying this entire team on his back. He's got to have a defense too.
No, I agree. And I could easily make an argument, like I said, to move him down a couple spots. It's just kind of statistically in my early rankings where he lands. Right. And I think it's also because the next guy I have on my rankings, I couldn't justify putting up at 4, so I wanted him at least at 5, and we'll get to that. But, yeah, it's the upside's there, and he's finished there many, many times, so you know he has the ability to get it done. Yeah. It's just if everything breaks that way. And obviously, I have some optimism here with the draft upcoming. So, I mean, once the draft is done and free agency's over, obviously we'll have a much clearer picture of what's going to happen here. So we'll see.
Right.
Our number 5 quarterback, I'm honestly kind of surprised we're so skewed on. I have him the lowest, which honestly surprises me, and I feel like I need to adjust my rankings and move him up a little bit. But is Phillip Rivers. Now, I have him at 8, CJ at 6, Jason all the way up at 4. So, man, I guess I'll throw it to you, Jason. Jason, why 4?
I feel like this year is going to be the perfect storm. I feel like all the talent that they've been surrounding this dude with over the past couple of years, or the Mike Williams is going to be healthy now, you know, and you've got Keenan Allen, and you've got Melvin Gordon had a good year. All these guys are getting to the point where they're going to be, and I think Hunter Henry is going to take a big step forward. All of this talent surrounding him, and their defense is underratedly good. I have a feeling this is going to be the perfect storm this year. I have a feeling this is going to be the year that San Diego kind of freaks out and wins a ton of games and plays lights out offense.
San
Diego. San Diego.
I'm sorry.
You continue to do it. San Diego, get your coaches.
No.
That is the first time I have done that. I apologize. Anyway, this team, the Chargers, I think this is going to be the year they freak out and win a ton of games. So I highly expect him to do extremely well this year.
All right, and
I agree. I agree with Jason. Now, listen, this team was they were only a couple wins away just because of field goals, man. They got the short end of the stick when it came to that. So they're only a couple wins away when it came to that. But overall, man, Phillip Rivers, you know I love him. Philly Rivers, I like to call him, man. He's a beast. He's money. He's going to be money for you. And I think this is the year, just like Jason said, man, they're getting the pieces back they lost on the offensive line. Those guys they drafted, they're coming back. They should be healthy. If that can stay intact, if we can, I know it's a big if, but if we can get those injuries to stop hitting this team and this offense is going to be money. I mean, the weapons that Phillip Rivers has is going to be ridiculous. I think this is going to be a great year for Melvin Gordon as well. He's connected to this man. So if we can get Melvin Gordon some more passes, that's going to be awesome too. Phillip Rivers is going to be money this season. I know I've been calling it every single year. This is the second year doing the show. And I feel like I've been saying this even when we were just talking offline. I love Phillip Rivers, and I love this year for him. He's going to be a beast. He's going to be a beast.
Yeah, I'm the lowest, but I feel like I need to push him up my rankings. This is a guy that for whatever I don't really know why, for whatever reason, in fantasy circles and fantasy rankings and fantasy drafts, he always slips. And generally outside of the quarterback ones, you can get him usually late in the double-digit rounds, and he's a guy that always finishes as a quarterback one. So it's just one of those guys you can sleep on. So maybe it's the upside of a couple other guys, but, I mean, he's just got so many weapons. He's got an offense. He's got a line which is decent. I mean, his defense, it's got some shining examples. I kind of agree. I feel like maybe they put it all together with some consistency this year because they've been plagued with injuries the last couple of years. Last year, They finally kind of kept healthy. Obviously, Mike Williams didn't, but that's besides the point. But they were in a new stadium. Maybe with some consistency across the board, they put it all together, and they have just a great season. I could definitely see that outcome, and I think we're all kind of leaning towards that happening with our rankings. I'm just the lowest based on the people that I have around him, but I could easily move him up a couple spots and not feel bad about it. So, yeah, I love the upside of Phillip Rivers here, and taking him as a upper half quarterback I'm completely okay with. But odds are you won't have to. You'll be able to wait on this guy in most drafts. Let's move on. Our next guy on our list, our number 6 quarterback, Carson Wentz. Now, I am splitting difference here. CJ, I feel quite obviously is the highest on him, being the hometown pick. CJ has him all the way up at 4. I have him at 6. But Jason has him all the way down at 10, which is honestly kind of surprising as well.
Disrespectful.
So,
get on Twitter at Jason Cabrera and let him have it.
That's at Jason Cabrera 13 for the record, CJ.
All the disrespectful crap you've said about my quarterback in the past, I have never told people to get on social media and dog you out.
This man was about to be the MVP if he didn't get injured. Oh, my God.
Anyway,
well, let's start with CJ.
So was Cam Newton at one point, and you guys are 13. So I want to hear it.
I knew this was going to get heated, and I love it. So, CJ, start us off. You give us the upside here.
The upside, oh, my God. The man was going to be MVP. That's one. The man is every since his rookie year, he continues to improve. So now we're going to year 3. Everything is basically still there. There's nothing changed, but the name of the game of this guy improving every single year, man. This dude, his game is ridiculous, man. He has the game of Russell Wilson when it comes to just being spontaneous in the pocket. He has the precision of Aaron Rodgers. He got the precision of Tom Brady. He's everything. And then when they got the weapons around him, man, Jason is making me mad with this 10. That is it's so disrespectful. Oh, my God. But listen, man, the numbers speak for itself. Everything that Carson Wentz is, if he didn't get injured. People, you see the tape. You see the highlights. You see the numbers. If the man didn't get injured, the man would have Russell Wilson would have had no shot at catching him when it came to touchdowns. His yardage is going to be out of this world. It's going to be ridiculous. The man was his money. He was money. Jason, explain yourself right now.
First off, I don't need to explain myself to you, so shut your mouth. Second, you know better than to question me. You know better than to question me about Carson Wentz. I told you at the beginning of the season I thought Carson Wentz was going to be very good. I'm a Carson Wentz fan. I put him at 10 because these are extremely early rankings, and I feel the same way about him that Griffin feels about the guy we just talked about. I have him too low. I will raise him in the rankings. Do I think he's in number 4? Absolutely not. But I will definitely be raising him up in my rankings. He's extremely good. He is extremely accurate. He's got a good arm. He can move around in the pocket. Okay? He is not Joe Montana, so calm down.
Okay. All right.
Some shots fired for sure. Since I split the difference, let me be the calming voice here. Yes, Carson Wentz finished as a top half quarterback, even though he didn't play the last 3 games. He was on fire. He had a magical breakout year. It's a massive difference from his first year. And the problem is, and this is why I have him where I have him at 6, because I'm kind of not sure, it's because I don't know who the real Carson Wentz is. I mean, obviously, there was the rookie year where he had a 79.3 quarterback rating. Last year, 101.9, massive jump, increases across the board, on pace to, as CJ said, obviously great contention for the league MVP, but then he got hurt. My concerns here is that not only do we not know what to expect, but coming off of injury, we've seen that a lot, that quarterbacks tend to be a little bit more timid. When the pocket starts to break down, they might start throwing the ball away more. I doubt he's going to scramble quite as much. They're going to try and keep him in the pocket more this year as he recovers. But this all being said, they've also upgraded the offense. They've upgraded the defense. They brought in an upgrade to Torrey Smith on the outside. I could see a world where he goes in any one of these directions. So I think this kind of falls to you, the player, the drafter. Whatever your thoughts on Carson Wentz are, you have a valid argument for those thoughts, and I think you go either way. I mean, obviously, we all think he's a quarterback 1 because our rankings reflect that. It's just kind of where. So,
absolutely.
I'll say this. I think, moving forward, I think that he is definitely a high floor, high ceiling play because he was one of the most consistent quarterbacks when he was healthy last year. And as CJ alluded to, this is the magical third season. So if he's going to hit that high ceiling, this would be the year that would happen. They're coming off of a Super Bowl win. They still got a lot of their guys in place. I absolutely agree with all that.
Yep, and so time will tell. Not a massive upgrade on his yardage or his targets and completions, just a huge touchdown increase. So that's helpful for fantasy. Like, I can see a world where he finishes as a top 3 quarterback. I could see a world where he finishes as a bottom 3, as a quarterback 1. But I think we all see him as a quarterback 1, so we'll see. Carson Wentz. Let's move on. Next guy on our list, Deshaun Watson. Now, you both have him at 7. I have him down at 9. I thought there was going to be more of a discrepancy between you two on this one. So, CJ, I'm sure that you are the one that wants to sing praises here. So let's start with you. Deshaun Watson, why do you have him at 7?
Well, listen, I don't look at especially the negatives and say, hey, listen, I don't believe he can be able to do what he did this past season and do it again. I mean, once again, I've told you guys before, you look at their strength of schedule, they have the schedule is in their favor. The schedule is going to be in their favor. He's going to take advantage of that. Basically, all the weapons are still there on the offense. That's a plus. All they need to really do that's going to make it even better for him is upgrade the offensive line, which I believe they will. So all that's happened, he's going to be another year in the system, be comfortable, be able to expand the playbook. So those things that people think they keep able to keyhole on, he's going to be able to, improve on that and make him hurt. I don't think we're going to see, and I hear a lot of people's arguments about this and try to do the comparison. I don't think we're going to see like a Dak Prescott senior sophomore slump like we did with Dak Prescott. I don't think we're going to have that on this system. First of all, you don't have this offense is not built around one single player in Ezekiel Elliott. This offense is built around the quarterback, and the quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Once he came in there, he was instant money for this offense. He made everything flow. And so when I put everything like that, and if he can stay healthy, he's going to be money, and everything checks the boxes on everything I want on a quarterback that's mobile and that can be able to pass the ball and be damn accurate too.
Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. His abilities were absolutely phenomenal last year. He was on a really amazing pace. I mean, he was going to. I think you mentioned it a couple shows ago. The dude was going to break like every record in the NFL if he had stayed healthy.
Yep.
But the reason I have him down as far as I have him is because it was an unsustainable pace, first off. Secondly, teams have had, and we've said this many, many times, teams have now had a full season to see this guy in action. Will he regress as much as Dak Prescott? I agree with CJ. I don't think he will. I think he's still going to be a high-level guy. He's a better passer than Dak. So he's still going to be a quarterback 1. He's still going to be a high-level quarterback 1. But I do expect him to regress back down to earth a little bit and still have a good season, but definitely not, the best quarterback in the league, which is what he was going to be if he had stayed on pace last year.
Yeah, I think you guys have basically made my argument for me. Look, a fantastic stretch last year. Didn't start week 1, struggled in week 2, kind of got going in week 3, and then weeks 4 through 8, he was on fire. 4 games in that span because they had their bye week in week 7. On pace to do all these record-breaking things, but, I say this all the time, and Jason just did. It was an unsustainable pace. We've made the argument, just like Jason just did, that they have an offseason to look at him. I just need a larger sample size before I can anoint him this new coming of a fantasy prototype quarterback. I think he's going to be very good. I just don't know that I believe that he's going to keep it going over a whole season. It's just hard to wrap my brain around. So I have him where I have him now. And this is a guy that you'll probably not be able to draft, honestly, because no matter how you feel about him, I've seen plenty of mocks where this guy goes as the number 2 quarterback off the board, which we all agree clearly through our rankings is way too high. Does he have a ceiling there? Yes. But do I think his floor is anywhere near there? It's definitely debatable. So, we have him as our consensus. What is it, quarterback 7? I think that's okay. If you want to take him before that or later than that, I'm okay with that too. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson. Our number 8 quarterback is Kirk Cousins. I have him at 7. CJ down at 11. Wow. Jason, you have him at 6. So, Jason, I'll ask, since you're the highest, we'll start with you. Why are you so high on Kirk Cousins? You have him as a top half quarterback 1.
The only negative thing I can think of with Kirk Cousins is the fact that he's got a new team. He's a new face in a new place. He's got guys he's got to build rapport with, new coaches, all this kind of fun stuff. Other than that, everything else has improved. The Minnesota Vikings are a better team than what he came from. Sorry, Redskins fans, but they are. I mean, their defense is going to be able to get him the ball more often. He's got better talent around him at almost every single position. And he's got a better offensive line. Honestly, I can't see a world where Kirk Cousins doesn't finish better than he did this last year, which he did pretty good last year. So, yeah, I definitely see him as a top-tier quarterback 1.
I mean, you can't really contest the statement that the Vikings are better than the Redskins, and
Right.
the Vikings made it to the NFC Championship
No one's going to
game.
take it seriously if you say that.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Redskins fans, but I mean, yeah, it's just the way it is. He went to a better team currently as their roster is built. He has got way better offensive weapons. He's got a much better defense. He's got, some would argue, a better offensive team there, coordinators, everything around him. My only concern is shared with you, Jason. He's in a new place. He's got new players he has to build a rapport with. He's got to kind of get it going. He's always been a guy who kind of starts slow anyway, and now he's got to do that with a new everything surrounding him. So that's why I have him down where I have him now, kind of splitting the difference between you guys at 7. And I really was trying to move him down further than that because I know I'm not very high on him, but all the statistics based on the people I have around him just has him landing right about where he is now. So I'm going to have to make some tweaks to my rankings here, which luckily we have plenty of time to do so. This is not even our final ranking show. I mean, we do that in August. Yeah, not even close. The draft hasn't even happened yet. So I don't know. I want to move him down more, but the upside has him where I have him right now is just outside the top tier of quarterbacks, but I think he has a ceiling, definitely if everything clicks and he gets going, that he could finish much higher than that. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, the man himself, the moneymaker. CJ, you're the lowest, so I guess I'll throw it to you. Why so low, or is it just kind of along the same lines of what we've already said?
It was mostly on the same lines of what Jason was saying, but I mean, I can see a scenario where I do move him up because if I can get the Kirk Cousins, 2016 Kirk Cousins when he had Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson, and when Jordan Reed was playing, above 8 games, that was a good Kirk Cousins, and he was effective, and he was great for fantasy. So right now, it's just he's coming to a whole new team where now, I mean, as it stands right now, everything is going to be affected by it. I mean, his presence is going to affect how you feel about Stephon Diggs, how you feel about Adam Thielen, how you feel about Kyle Rudolph. Every skill position and great pickup that you thought that was your little stash, that was your little section over there that was money for you, what prior quarterbacks before that was in this regime. Now you have to hold up. You got to hold up because you don't know what this chemistry is going to be like, and who's going to be his guy. Is he going to be able to spread the ball out effectively and be effective in this offense, and everybody's going to be able to shine? Or is he going to key in on one dude? You just don't know. So, I mean, there's a lot of question marks that I need answers to so I can be able to move him up. But I definitely can see a scenario where he does get back in my top 10 because I agree with Jason. Everything is better that he has right now than what he had in Washington last year. So the arrows are up, but I just need to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think that with the better wide receivers, better offensive line, better running game, I mean, you could make an argument for better tight end, but definitely one that stays healthier for a lot longer. So that for fantasy makes him usually better. I mean, the sky's the limit, so we'll just see where he lands. I think people are cautiously optimistic right now. Some people are blindingly optimistic. I have seen mock drafts where Deshaun Watson and Kirk Cousins go as the 1-2 quarterback, which blows my mind. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
a bit high.
yeah, please don't do that if you're listening to this show. Don't do that.
No, please do that if you're in our
right?
listener league.
No, yeah, go for
Please
it. Do it. Push them down to us who are waiting for these values. So yeah, I can see a world where Kirk Cousins finishes as a top 5 quarterback, but I don't know. Where I am right now, it's wait and see. Obviously, we'll have a much clearer picture once we get into training camps and preseasons on how his rapport is building with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen and all the weapons in Minnesota. So we'll see. But we got to keep moving. We're starting to run low on time. The next guy on our list, our number 9 quarterback, Jared Goff. Now, you both have him at 8. I'm the lowest at 10. But though I'm going to probably have to move him up because I moved him down there based on, his ceiling was questionable, and then the loss of Sammy Watkins definitely didn't help. But bringing in Brandon Cooks gives him a definite bump, so I could see a world where I have him right in line with you guys, right around 8. I just haven't made the adjustments in my rankings and my equations. So I guess I'll throw it to you guys. 8. Why?
Well, I mean, to me, I'm just looking at year two in this scheme, and then now with these new weapons, he has to go up. I mean,
yeah.
I think in this scheme, when we saw last year, there was times where he was forcing the ball or he was a little too passive with the ball as far as not being instinctive and making plays right then and there that was right in front of his face. So now I see year 2, and as you saw the progression throughout the season, he was money. He was showing out. He was even winning you weeks just off of his games because he was just that good, and the scheme was that so good for him that he was just instant magic for you. So I have to assume that he's going to be able to continue that pace, and him and Sean McVay are going to be able to keep this thing going. And now with the insertion of Brandon Cooks, I mean, oh my goodness, that's just unfair just to have all that speed out there and this running gun offense, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason?
No, I agree. I mean, they've upgraded almost everywhere, and they were already good. I mean, this was already a juggernaut of an offense, and also now look what they've done with the defense. They have put together, it's like the NFL version of Space Jam out there. They got the Monstars playing over there in the freaking defense.
The movie reference, great movie.
Thank you. And Ndamukong Suh. I mean, you got Donald out there. You got those 2 ridiculous corners. I mean, this is a scary defense. They're going to be able to dominate games, get the ball into Jared Goff's hands, and get him the opportunity to score more points for you. So, yeah, I even am looking at possibly moving Jared Goff up this list.
Yep.
Sorry, folks. Griffin's a nerd. He doesn't know Space Jam.
How do I not know Space Jam? I freaking love Space Jam.
How do you not know Space Jam, Griffin? That's the question.
You have to know Space Jam. Everyone knows Space Jam.
Everyone knows Space Jam. That was like one of the first. This is dating me. That was like one of the first CDs I owned was a soundtrack to that movie.
That soundtrack was money though.
It was so good. But side conversation for the post show maybe. Yeah, early CDs.
Sidebar.
Space Jam. Top 10. All right. So yeah, Jared Goff definitely has a very, very high ceiling. We all like him very, very much. Cam Newton comes in at number 10. And the guy who makes him in our top 12 is the Cam Newton hater himself.
I hate myself.
Jason Cabrera has him at 9. Both CJ and I have him at 13. So, Jason, tell me why we are so high on Cam Newton.
We're all here.
We're all here. We're all listening.
I will issue an apology to Mr. CJ Hickman right now for having Cam Newton rated higher than Carson Wentz. I apologize.
Your apology.
Thank you. This is very, very early rankings, and I need to push him down my rankings. I don't like Cam Newton. I've not been a fan of Cam Newton. He's a running quarterback. I don't like that. He's not accurate. Not a good pocket passer. There's a lot not to like. Now, there are some things to like about Cam Newton, which is why he is going to have to be, at least up in the upper 2s. The quarterback 2 is where I would probably actually have him ranked. And the reason is someone like Christian McCaffrey, who is going to be able to utilize, and the fact that they're probably going to hopefully draft themselves a couple more weapons that they're going to need to work with, plus the fact that they're going to let him be him. I don't. They keep talking about trying to make him sit in the pocket and throw the ball. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think they're going to let him be him. They're going to let him run the ball more, and that's going to get you points until he gets injured. That's the scary part. Is he going to take another concussion, going to get injured, which is another reason that I would push him further down this list. So Cam Newton, draft at your own risk, really.
Yeah. Compelling argument. CJ, your thoughts?
My thoughts is basically on what Jason was saying, man. My only thing why he's that slow, I mean, I love him as a quarterback. I love what he can be able to do on there. I mean, that year that he was MVP was ridiculous. When they went to Super Bowl, that was crazy, man. Everything was working for him. You know, I just wanted him to continue to build on that. But, you know, it's this organization to bring in talent. I mean, his deep threat right now, at this moment, is Torrey Smith. Love Torrey Smith. I really do. But he's not a consistent player, and he's not a guy that's going to be able to help him out. I love Devin Funchess this year, but I don't think Devin Funchess is a true number one wide receiver that can handle all of that and, you know, elevate his play to, you know, match Cam Newton. I don't see it right now. I might be wrong. But there's a lot of question marks on this offense, but I mean, I do like the running backs though in that, and hopefully they can get the ball with some dump offs and let's get some screens going, because that will, you know, affect Cam Newton, and that will, you know, be a part of his game and points that we all want, because once again, screen plays, they do affect the quarterback, and we'll get points from that. So it's just things about this offense as far as the weapons, as far as mainly the wide receivers, that I just need to improve on. And if they do get improved on, I would like Cam Newton more.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I have him outside my quarterback ones, and that's just because this is a guy that through his career has had a quarterback ranking in the 80s. For his average is 85.3. That's not exciting.
Ouch.
Obviously, what gets him gets it done for fantasy is the rushing production. And last year, yeah, he set the world on fire. He set highs across the board, and not just highs among the league for his career. In his age 27 season, well, actually, no, 28. He'll be 29 at the beginning of this year. He ran for a record number, 139 attempts. His previous high was 132, but before that, it was like in the 120s. So he always runs a lot. Ran for 8.7 attempts a game, so again, his highest. 754 yards, his highest. And touchdowns, 6, which was not his highest. But, I mean, all that put together, that production, those rushing yards, those rushing attempts, those rushing touchdowns, that's what makes him such a fantasy asset. But he throws a lot of interceptions. He's not a great pocket passer. He actually fumbles the ball a surprising amount of times. He's just a very inconsistent guy. He will win you weeks. He's one of these guys that will have a big week every now and then that you're just like, wow, there's Cam Newton, and then everyone's going to try and trade for him, which if then you're the Cam Newton owner, you should sell him because he's going to then give you a bunch of down weeks. He's very inconsistent, and I look, some people, they love the rushing quarterback because they think that gives them a very good floor, and in a lot of ways it does. But that requires them to stay healthy. That requires them to score. I mean, it's a floor with a low ceiling more times than not. So I personally am not a huge fan of rushing quarterbacks, especially ones that aren't great pocket passers. I believe you guys are in the same camp, which is why we have him ranked where we have him. So yeah, Cam Newton, our current quarterback 10, thanks to Jason Cabrera. So
thanks for rubbing that in.
I got to, because I think you're the biggest hater on the show, and yet you have him the highest. So it's just funny to me.
Love that, man. You secretly lovely, man. I don't know what he did to you in high school, but you love that man. So.
He really
anyway.
does. Should we move on to this guy that now I'm going to have to defend?
Yeah, we really should move on to this next one.
Yeah, we should. What the hell is going on with you, Griffin?
I mean, do you want to move on just because you don't want to talk about Cam Newton anymore, or because you want me to defend this guy?
I will throw up on you. You want me to throw up on you?
I'd rather you did, truly. So my guy on this list that I have up next is my number 5 quarterback, which is, like I was saying, I couldn't justify making my number 4. Okay, I'll admit right now it's too high, and that's why I moved him down to 5. But the upside is absolutely there because we've seen it. Andrew Luck, our number 11 quarterback on the season for our consensus early rankings. Again, I have him at 5. CJ all the way down in 19. Jason at 16. Good Lord, guys, do you not remember the talent that is Andrew Luck? Look,
it's hard to go back so far. I remember that, but I mean, let's not forget there's so many other good, talented quarterbacks that we got right now that have proven weapons on their team.
I know.
Listen, I want you to tell the listeners, tell our fans exactly what you told us before
Oh,
the
no.
show started.
Well,
I want that exact quote, word for word. That's what I want.
Well, realistically, I want to get him down to like 9 or 10. I think that's where I'm going to be comfortable keeping him because the ceiling, obviously, is the number one quarterback in the league. We've seen him do it. But coming back from injury with the weapons he has right now, you've got a lot of question marks. I know this team, look, it's under a new regime. Frank Reich is going to be doing his thing. He's going to try and build up this offensive line. We've seen him try and make moves to do that already. They brought in Ryan Grant, so I guess that's an option at wide receiver. I think they still need to bring in a solid, concrete number 2 opposite T.Y. Hilton, but I expect them to make a move for that. They brought in Eric Ebron, who we know has a very high ceiling if he can just hold on to the ball. And he now has Jack Doyle and Eric Ebron for a 2 tight end set. Both of them pass-catching tight ends, big weapons in the red zone. And Andrew Luck, I make this point all the time, loves to feature his tight ends, especially in the red zone. So there's a lot of upside there for both him and his tight ends. I just really think that if he's back and he's healthy and he can stay healthy, there's a chance that he could easily finish as a mid-range quarterback 1. Maybe even more upside if they fix the wide receiver position. Again, do I have him currently too high over some guys that should be higher than him? Yes, it's just how my preliminary rankings have it done. Obviously, you guys are much, much more on the very low floor side where I'm looking at the ceiling. So I think I've kind of made the point, but go ahead, fill me in, guys. Why so low?
I mean, I'm the lowest because, and I just said it, weapons right now. I mean, the guy's coming back. We've been hearing all the reports. He's working out. He's going to be coming back. That's great. Need to see it. But then what is he coming back to? The weapon. It's only T.Y. Hill. Yes, you're trying to bring life back into your boy Eric Ebron. Give him
And
a
Jack
fresh
Doyle.
start. No, he's not a thing. Jack Doyle is the only thing.
They will
Jack
both
Doyle,
be things with
T.Y.
Andrew Luck.
Hill. No, it's not going to be.
Guaranteed.
He's going to disappoint you again. Again, he's going to let you down. And everybody else that believes in him, he's crap. All right? Listen, Andrew Luck, he is being affected by the lack of talent that he has on his team. It's not just going to be on him because he's great. I like his guts. You see the tape. It's awesome. But the man is coming back. He's coming back to nothing. And they need to replace that because there's nothing there outside of T.Y. Hill.
Yep. Well, we got to get out of here. We got one more guy to go, so I'm going to throw this to Jason very quickly, who splits the difference. So, Jason, tell me about Andrew Luck, and then we can do our last guy.
Injury scares me. I mean, any injury that keeps you out as long as this injury has kept Andrew Luck out. He's gone to Europe and sought out specialists, and he's probably gone on like a spirit walk and tried to find himself a medicine man or something. I don't know what is going on with this, but it's
Smoke the
scary.
peace pipe.
And so that's
He went
the
to
first
go
thing.
see Raja Ghul to get the Lazarus pit.
Yes.
He's trying to find Raza Ghul. Bring the flower to the top of the mountain.
The Rachel.
But right. The other thing that bothers me is you kind of mentioned in passing, but he's got a new coach. He's got a new coaching system there. That also makes you concerned. Also, that offensive line, we still don't know what we're going to get out of that offensive line. We had a paper-mache offensive line in the past, and that's why Andrew Luck is hurt all the time. He's constantly picking himself up off the turf. So does he have the upside to be a number 5 or even the number 1 quarterback? Yes, he does. We've seen it. I'll agree with you on that. He is a phenomenal talent. But that talent doesn't matter if he's hurt. And that's why I have him down at 16. Risk mitigation.
Yep, and I totally get it. And I would, like I said, I'd feel more comfortable if I had him lower. I know his ceiling is where I have him right now. He's throwing, and not just throwing, but throwing footballs. So, I mean, all these reports are good, but after last year's scare, we have to see it. This is a guy that you're going to be able to realistically get, kind of where you guys have him ranked as a late-round flyer. I just have him ranked towards his ceiling right now. So I think I need to come down on him. I think if we hear good reports and he comes back healthy, you guys will probably move up on him a little bit. Time will tell. Again, we'll know more as we move through the offseason and we get closer to August and training camps and preseason. So we'll see. All right, last guy we got to do really fast because we're already out of time. Matt Ryan, who CJ and I both have at 12, where he's currently ranked. Jason all the way down at 17. Good Lord. So I'll just say pros really fast. Look, it's Matt Ryan. He's consistently good. He's had great times, great stretches. He's very commonly a quarterback that's in the 90% quarterback ranking. Last year, he had a pretty similar amount of numbers and attempts, completions, percentage, average yards per game, average catches. He was down on total yardage on the year. He was down on touchdowns. He had a new offensive coordinator. The offense mostly remained the same. The offense is still mostly the same. So I think with a second year of consistency with the new OC, I think he will find somewhere in the middle of what he did in 2017 and 2016, and that would mathematically put us back to the old Matt Ryan, which is somewhere around this low-end quarterback one. Jason, negatives, because you have him decently far down.
Yeah, I feel like I flipped what I wanted Cam Newton and Matt Ryan to be somehow. That's kind of what I feel like I did. I actually am a fan of Matt Ryan.
They're just so confusing. They look so similar.
They look, it's like looking in a mirror. No, it's just that what happened this year, it was like, okay, he had a good year. If you look at his numbers, over 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns. So that's pretty decent. And 12 interceptions, that's not good. But overall, he had a pretty decent year. I'm not sure why I have him ranked down this low. I think it's just I was pushing other people up past him. And definitely Cam Newton, I've got ranked too high. So I'll probably be changing this. But overall, I like Matt Ryan. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a little inconsistent sometimes, but overall, I think his second year in this system, and if they can get Julio Jones more involved, I think it'll be good.
Yep. Anything you want to add, CJ?
I can't say that I like Matt Ryan, but I'm just being optimistic and hoping that this offense gets it together. They find their sweet spot, and they can start flowing, and then Matt Ryan can start being that Matt Ryan that we probably saw when he was on that MVP race.
I agree. So with that, I guess we're out of here. So to recap, we have Aaron Rodgers as number 1. Number 2, Tom Brady. Number 3, Drew Brees. Number 4, Russell Wilson. Number 5, Phillip Rivers. Number 6, Carson Wentz. Number 7, Deshaun Watson. Number 8, Kirk Cousins. Number 9, Jared Goff. Number 10, Cam Newton. Number 11, Andrew Luck. And number 12, Matt Ryan. And guys, we just want to point out again that these are our early rankings. If you agree, disagree, who would you like to see in the top 12? Your number 1 quarterbacks? Comment down below if you're on YouTube. Send us a message on Twitter at the FF Fanatics. You have plenty of options to interact with us. Feel free to do so. We are very happy to start a discussion and engage you guys in conversation. And also want to point out that as we've kind of hinted at, these are not final. This is a living, breathing thing. Once we're done with all these consensus shows, in fact, these early rankings will be available on the website, thefantasyfootballfanatics.com, and you'll be able to see them updated relatively in real time. And then once we kind of finalize things moving into the preseason, as we get obviously very close to draft season, we'll be recapping these again with our final rankings, and we'll know a lot more then to make much more informed decisions. There's quite a bit of speculation right now, so time will tell. So with that, we're out of here. We'll see you guys on Tuesday when we'll be talking early consensus running back rankings. I kind of already mentioned all the places you can find us. Again, on Twitter is at the FF Fanatics. We've said that a ton of times in the show. If you want to follow us individually, I'm at GPalmerFFF, CJ is at CJ Hickman89, and Jason is at Jason Cabrera13. So with that, we are out of here. Any parting thoughts, guys?
Hey, man, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope that we could bless you with this show. You guys have a good Saturday. We'll see you Monday, hopefully.
Yep. Jason?
Guys, send us a ranking, and like you said, get us comments, and, if you want to put a comment out there, like I had a comment on YouTube about me, said Jason is absolutely terrible at fantasy analysis. Thank you very much, sir. I'll take that.
Hey,
put it in my bag.
Picking on Jason.
I appreciate it.
On him, all right?
Wow.
I can say I got it. That's cool.
Jason Cabrera bringing down the integrity of the show.
No, man.
I will write that on my trophies. How about that?
There you go.
Oh, that's right, Jason. Get him.
Get him. All right, so with that, we're out of here. Everyone, take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.
Life in the fast lane, moving at the speed of life.
My Jason right there. That's wrong.
Jason is absolutely terrible.
Well, I mean, having Cam Newton up there that high, I mean, you said it yourself. And Carson Wentz down that low.